Yeah, it is interesting though. I've never had this Borden Dutch chocolate milk. I'm more of a Prairie Farm guy, but this is absolutely amazing. 100% better than getting your school
Oh
milk, whatever
yeah.
the heck that is.
Oh, the school milk sounds
School
like
milk, school
the word of
milk,
the day is chocolate milk, bro.
but school milk. We are
School
talking
milk,
about
chocolate
schools
milk.
today.
We are talking
So
about schools. Look at
we're on
that
topic. We're
transition.
related. We're
The
related.
school milk, though, dude. Have you ever had it like frozen and like clunky?
Dude, I swear I
Like,
got one with a chunk of butter in it one time. I'm so serious.
I've
It
literally
was
had some that's just
disgusting.
straight ice. Like, it doesn't even make sense,
Yeah,
but it's
the
weird,
it's the freezers they use.
dude.
It's just
Oh yeah.
uneven, you know.
Who changed? It was Obama's administration that changed the school lunches, wasn't it?
I think it was Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
thought.
under
Yeah.
Obama, yeah.
Yeah. I thought I
Like
heard about that.
that was a big change.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the
Dude, and I
details
hate it,
about it,
man,
but
because you hear like my dad even and grandparents are talking about, oh, we used to have lunch ladies that would come in extra early and make us rolls.
yeah.
It's like, bro, we're getting
Hey,
frozen
we
fake
should
meat.
have
Come
some like
on.
regional foods and lunches.
Yeah,
Just let normal people make the school
some
food.
local
Why
stuff
not?
too,
Yeah,
you
we don't need
know?
standardized meals, guys. Like,
Fact.
come on.
Anyways,
Irrelevant to the point,
schools.
but here we go.
Go
Talking
ahead,
about
intro us up, bro.
American education system,
Yeah.
okay? We're going to be covering a lot of flaws, right? Not entirely structural flaws. It might be mentioned a bit, but we're talking mostly about just kind of the culture it's fostered mainly. I think that's the major point that we're hitting at is that
Mm,
both through the people who work in the educational sphere and the people who learn from it, right? People who are students within this sphere. Just the culture that's been fostered by both groups' actions really has led our country down a bad path. And I think I personally would say that it is a very large contributor to many of the problems that we're facing today, both culturally and other ways.
yeah, those problem sourcing in the school system. And I mean anything that holds value that is useful should be critiqued.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad thing to critique. It's like if it's valuable, then we should make sure it's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
hold it to that standard. So, looking at it a little bit, um see what we got. But where do you want to start, buddy?
Well, I think my first point was just kind of a thing we brought up with a lot of these things. It's just a lack of and a war on just independent thought.
Sure.
So, I have this kind of article I wrote out, kind of a speech, depending on the way you want to look at it. But um, let's see. A big point I had in this is that even in the light of nearly endless ideas and opinions, methods and processes, and obviously some are good, some are bad. They'll all find their place anywhere in between those as well. But there are so many stances, ideas, interpretations of historical things, of anything that you're going to learn in school that just simply is reduced to a single POV, a single interpretation or teacher's opinion without really in many cases consideration of any other point or almost a demonization or suppression of the other points.
Sure. I think sometimes too, maybe not even enough going into things that should be.
Oh yeah, a
Like having a
radical
lot more
simplification.
questions
Yeah. Yeah.
on issues or whatnot, and them kind of deciding what's important. And in one regard, you kind of have to because it's not like you have a million years you can cram into
Yeah, that's fair.
the time. But I mean, I don't know, like certain things that I think taught as fact that aren't even regarded as fact, still just
Oh,
theory.
oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, to be in a school that professes our start from monkeys as fact when there's no proof anywhere to back that up, but then to say that as fact and then to
Yeah.
reject things that have so much proof.
Mhm.
You know, so even just what like, well then why would you do that? And it's like, well, you're kind of pushing something,
Yeah.
you know? So then it's like, well, the people are in charge are kind of what thing are they pushing?
And it's not that they
Weird.
if they introduced the theory of evolution and they said this is a theory and then we got a theory of creation, right? To where at the bare minimum it's on a neutral playing field. Like I could accept that, but the thing is that's just simply not what happens. I mean,
Sure.
we point to something that is no more than a very poorly supported theory and it never was accepted even when it was first introduced. It was always like with Darwin, right? That was the
Mm.
guy with evolution or whatnot. But
Which they don't even agree with his original
yeah,
things. It's just weird, but I don't know. It is interesting on the independent thought side. It's almost like um, you have like a set system, cookie cutter way,
Oh,
but people are different.
yeah.
So then to say that this is the standard and this is what needs to be done for everybody and everybody needs to understand it this way is kind of wild,
Yeah.
you know, especially for a group of people that likes to think everybody can do whatever they want.
Hmm.
It's kind of no, it's kind of wild.
And that isn't to say that education shouldn't be found like supported by a series of fundamental truths, but because it should be. Fundamental truths are critical in any society, but the fact of the matter is that these things that
Understanding
they
the
present
roundedness.
as truths are not fundamental or truth.
Sure, but then even like understanding all sides of something, I feel like
Yeah.
helps you understand the truth more.
Yeah.
Like I got an example for this. Like we just had a great personal example. At least I did mainly because I was sitting on classes, but of a school that does this well. And like I was sitting on a class where the teacher is going over a point and they have people covering the agree, the disagree, and kind of the middle ground to explain the two. The reason for this, and they knew which one was wrong,
Mm.
and they weren't arguing that it was right.
Yeah. More
They were
devil's
just they were
advocate.
just understanding why somebody would think this maybe.
Yeah.
Or so then it gave a rounder thought to it.
Mm.
So then the students leaving the class have a more rounded understanding of whatever it was they were learning.
Mm. And that's how you address an issue with teaching rather than indoctrinating. Because that's what seems to be the case in many situations in the American school system today because they teach one single what they would say as a fundamental truth and then that is the sole truth and nothing else could possibly hold ground beside it. Like an example I used was imperialism, right? And I mean, that's going to be covered in history classes, obviously, because that's a very important part of history. And what I was saying with that is that in class today, I'm not saying it isn't these things, but it's taught purely as, in all way, a moral wrong that harms society beyond measure and manipulated native peoples, right? And further practices as slavery and racism, which are true, right? But then they entirely ignore the fact that imperialism did so many other things. I mean, it founded America and founded every nation in the New World.
You think maybe they have a hard time covering it in its fullness because to some degree it might be considered a tricky subject?
It is a tricky subject, but tricky subjects are the most important subjects.
I would agree. I would
Yeah,
agree. I
but
mean, that would
that's
be.
another problem is that you ignore what is difficult purely because it is difficult. You
Mhm.
want to not offend people, so you avoid saying what may be true or what may be controversial. And
Yeah.
that's not how you develop a method of thought for children. That's not how you develop a stable society. It's how you develop a society of fragile people who are self-centered and just unable to have a conversation with anyone who disagrees with them.
Yeah. And I mean to add on this section of like continue to have your own independent thought, and especially looking at this in the school system, this isn't for all grades and ages. I mean,
Oh
there is
God,
a
no.
time in a child's life where they don't know things, and that's not to
Mm,
say that they're terrible,
yeah,
but they're young. They don't know, and to say that they do is not accurate and
yeah,
not helpful to them.
yeah, yeah.
Like there is a time where they need to be in submission to the teachers and parents, but the fact that they can't do it themselves, so they have to be reliant, I feel like that should push us to have the higher standard for the teachers and for the people doing it. Like if this is where they're getting all their information, and like you pull something out of scripture like Luke, and it's like, can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into the ditch? The student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like their teacher. So it's like if the person who trains you, you become like when you're fully trained. We should want the people training our kids to be good,
Oh yeah,
to be of
absolutely.
good report,
Yeah.
to have a higher standard for
Mm,
picking out who is teaching them because that's who our children become like.
yeah,
It shouldn't be an issue we take lightly at bare minimum.
100%.
Um,
And I mean, the standard's not super high. I won't say. I don't think anyone would say the standard's super high.
You know what's interesting? We've had some interesting examples of teachers, and
Few we shared, a few we haven't, but
And to not get too specific, but I feel like I've seen both ends of the spectrum.
yeah.
I've seen teachers that surpass what I think a common bar should be.
Okay.
That they are more than what
I'd
is at
agree.
least bare minimum should be required.
Yeah, there are some good teachers out there. I'm not saying like they're all bad,
100%.
but there's a lot that aren't
But
meeting the
then,
bar.
I mean, to have had a teacher who cries to the class about the class being bad
Yeah. Is that the
to a
example
to
you
a
want your kids to have?
to a fifth grade
Yeah,
class,
is that the example that you want your fifth grader to? Yeah,
like I don't know. It's like it would seem that you're seeing a child is seeing that not having a grip on your emotions is okay.
yeah,
Or to look to then we'll see, okay, so in my mind, like I see that and it's like this is who we're supposed to be in submission to.
yeah.
It's like really? And then I no longer want to be in submission.
Hmm.
I don't have a respect for it,
I mean, children,
you know?
when they're in elementary school and whatnot, they're in submission because they are in a state of weak intellect because they're a child. They're still developing their brain. So I'm not saying like if we go back to imperialism, I'm not saying introduce imperialism a complex topic to a child. Because yes,
No, and
it
I would
further
say that we'd probably both agree on things taught at least in elementary school and kind of the standards and the level of difficulty is pretty good.
yeah.
It's not bad.
I don't
But
think
then when
elementary
you
school is the problem.
but when you start getting into high school,
Yeah.
that's when
That's
it kind
where
of switches
oh
up a little
yeah.
bit,
High
you
school
know.
is I think the key driver.
So like my only thing on elementary is this is when the kid is the most suggestible.
Yeah.
So this should be an important not just I almost feel like the standard for an elementary school teacher is lower than the standard for something else. Like to be a college professor, you have to have way more schooling and way more accomplishments
Oh,
than to be a kindergarten teacher.
for sure.
You know, if anything, a lot of teachers start in that kindergarten as or elementary, just as that's like kind of the baseline.
Yeah.
But that's when it's almost most important to have good people there. So maybe the bar should be raised for that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a thought.
I mean,
It's a
a
thought.
big part of that's probably because you don't really have to be specialized in a subject to be teaching elementary school. But that's
Yeah.
not to say that they shouldn't be knowledgeable. And I'm not even
I
saying
think
necessarily
character
knowledge is the
too.
biggest thing.
You
Yeah,
know,
character would
and
be
a
the
part
biggest
of
for
this
that,
is
I'd say.
like to see the school system get away from like a biblical standard is I feel like a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Because without like to read from Proverbs and or actually I'll go from Psalms. This is in Proverbs too, but to read out of Psalms like Psalms 110 or 111 verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So think about this as like if the Lord has all the answers to life, he's the source of all knowledge. So if you're being taught by somebody who doesn't have a relationship with the source of all knowledge,
Yeah. What type of
there's going to
skewed
be
knowledge are you
some
gonna be getting?
sure, there's
Yeah.
going to be some gaps there. But then even the sense is what does a relationship with the Lord do for your life? I mean, it gives you you're not going to be crying at your class. You have this self-control. You have these fruits of the spirit that make you a better person for society,
Yeah.
therefore being a better teacher, more reliable to the students for their parents.
Mm.
You know, it would give me more comfort knowing a teacher of my kid has a strong relationship with the Lord,
Yeah.
you know. And I know a lot of people that go, a lot of parents that homeschool their kids or do something like that to keep
Hmm.
them out of the public system would use something like Proverbs 13:20, which says like he who walks with the wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. To go along with that, Proverbs 22:15 says foolishness is bound up in the heart of the child. So if you're sending your kids to be with other kids
Mm.
all day and all they're walking around is fools,
Yeah.
and then the standard for the teachers who are in charge of these fools is so low, you're around more fools, therefore the companion of fools will be destroyed.
Yeah. I'd like to point out too is like that scenario would be terrible on a playground, right? Where they're just having fun. Now take that scenario and put it into a place where they're supposed to be learning. They're supposed to be learning how the world works and what who they are, right? What they believe, what not, what's true. And they're led in contact with people who really is just not good for them to be around in situation.
And more thought on the fact that like a child can't think for themselves until they get to a certain age.
Yeah.
I feel like you're seeing a shift to where people are trying to say that the kid can think for themselves and know what they want. Like
I'd agree with that.
in the regard that I've seen instances where schools will ask the kid, "Are you a boy
What
or
their
a girl?"
pronouns are. Yeah.
and then will not tell their parents any of these
Yeah, there are
things.
a lot of states that do that. There are a
Like
lot of states where
they
you can take your kid can be taken from you by the government if you don't honor what they identify as.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like
you're
what?
regarding what the kid has to say. So if the educators think that the kids can be educating to them,
Mhm.
what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's not a good system. That's not
Mm-mm.
beneficial, and that's leading to destruction. I would say, and I think there's plenty of scripture to back that thought up
Yeah,
in a fullness sense, but it's wild to see.
it
It's
really
wild to
is.
see. Uh,
I
good.
can't believe that so many people act like that's not an issue.
Yeah.
Like they'll be sitting there, it's like I don't know if anyone's really okay with it. I'm sure there are people that are, like there is for every scenario, but like I would say almost certainly the majority of people are not okay with that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. It's just I think another big point I had going along lack of independent thought, if we're going back to high school, is just such black and white interpretations of things,
Yeah,
and
so
that
I
could be with
think maybe
everything.
from now on we're kind of focusing more on a higher grade.
Yeah,
We're kind
yeah.
of
Now
excluding
that we
because I
got
think
the lower grades
excluding the
established,
lower
yeah,
grades
because that
because
is
they
important.
are different
Yeah, they are
and
very different.
treated should be treated different. But like you have a thought that you were talking to me about that you have posted up here. It's like the idea of like the teachers being like a knowledge god,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is almost the sense of like you'll see like a parent be like,
Let me
because
find
I
that
said
thing.
so.
Yeah,
That's what I
and
think when
that
I hear
that's
that.
what it is.
Because I
Yeah,
said so, which is not the same in school as it is outside of school.
yeah.
So to be in school, I can't see how telling a kid, well, this is it because it is, instead of explaining it and encouraging, let's think about it. I don't see how that's more beneficial to education. If the
I'm gonna
purpose
tell
they're
you.
going there is for education and to maybe even learn how to learn better,
Yeah.
what's that? How is that helping?
It doesn't. I mean, I would like to think of school as a time where you build a method of thought, right? Not where
Mm-hmm.
you sit. I mean, and what it is now is you sit there and you memorize things, and that's what the American school system is. And that's exactly why I think the teachers do that too,
Mm-hmm.
because like their whole uh, department, I guess, is built around these single correct answers. It's like fill in the
Mm-hmm.
blank. This is true. This is true. This is true. And there's one, right? Like look at a multiple choice problem. You got five answers, and some might be like, oh, I could see maybe that, but there's one correct answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they look at everything. Is that's how it's set up. But that's just simply not the case. I mean, I pointed back at imperialism a billion times,
Well,
but a
not to
point I've
say
been
that
trying
there
to make with
isn't
that.
one correct answer for things, but maybe the lack of looking at the wrong answers
Yeah,
and maybe even explaining why they're wrong.
yeah.
I feel like maybe that's a missed point on a lot of it.
A lot of those answers don't necessarily have a right or wrong. I mean, there are certainly many things I do, but like there are some where it's like if you look at math, right? You might there's some like I'm not saying I love the idea of giving a billion different methods and expecting everyone to be able to know every one, but like having multiple options is good, but
You're
there'll be
gonna have a
sometimes where
right
you
and a
only
wrong answer at the
yeah,
end of an equation.
yeah, but there are different ways to pursue it.
Yeah. And I feel like that was always something that frustrated me was I had to learn all the ways to do it even after I had one that worked for me and
Yeah.
maybe another one didn't make sense. So like one did work for me and this somebody came up with a new way to do it
Yeah.
and that helped me. But the other ways don't. They make it more confusing.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't want to learn because it sucks and it doesn't make sense and nobody's able to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating when looking back into Proverbs is it talks about like an intelligent heart acquires knowledge and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. So if I go into school and no longer want to seek knowledge, that's not good.
No,
You
it's
know,
not
and
at
I've
all.
been in learning situations and at different schools and been and seen different teachers that made you want to be in their class
Mm.
and you wanted to learn what it was. whether that was important to you or not, it was just interesting,
Yeah.
So then to have a teacher or situation that prevents that, I don't think is good.
No. And it is a large part of that is kind of how the teacher presents the class, I'd say. But I had a point about that. Um,
It might go back to in just what you're taught. Like if I have to learn trigonometry,
yeah.
when am I going to use that? Or like if I'm going to go into a like a construction, or not even a construction, but like an architect,
Mhm.
I don't need to be that studied up on the anatomy of the human body.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I kind of like that. I like looking at how the body works. But if I were to go and work on constructing a building, I need to know the ins and outs of a building,
Yeah.
not a person.
Yeah. I think in high school it's that specialization that's really, really key there. Because what's the point of building a foundation in a few what they declare poor subjects, and then you go to the most advanced class, and then you're gonna like, for example, English. You're gonna be taking English. You're born in America. You're fluent in English, right? Let's say that's the example we're using. You take it from kindergarten to senior year, and then if you're going to college, you're probably taking it even more.
Mm.
But you're fluent in English. You can speak, you can write, you can do these things. So what is the point of that? It seems just
It's
simply
looking at
to be,
literature,
yeah. But it's just like
which
it's
is not relatable to
no,
most careers,
yeah. And I mean, if
unless
you
it's just
like doing
something
that,
you're
it's fine.
interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can specialize in that, and then you can take those classes. But like most people don't need to specialize in that. It just really
I
is
feel like a big
demoralizing
part
for
of
them.
that too, it makes people think they're dumb
Yeah.
when that's just not something that they would do.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's
you would be
incredibly
in this other
demoralizing.
field and be the smartest person in the field. But now you think you're dumb and everybody's telling you you're dumb because you don't understand this, which is agreed upon as something people should know.
You're throwing them in that cookie cutter, just one size
Yeah.
fits all system.
And the fact that anybody who did pass it, you go 3 years after they passed it, they're not going to
Yeah, I
know it.
forgot it. Yeah.
It's like,
It's just really is a waste of time. That's what I'm saying. I was like, it is so demoralizing because you know that it's a waste of time. You're well
yeah.
aware the entire time that you're never going to need this, but
It's not that
you're
the
stuck there for 8
information that they're
hours.
teaching is always the waste, right? Like
Yeah,
we're talking about, like you could have a
there's
specialized
plenty of
in that.
use for a lot of stuff, but
Yeah,
just
but for that to be the requirement for everybody to have to
yeah,
know and understand doesn't make sense.
yeah. I feel like it'd be much better to give a decent foundation and a wide variety of things rather than like, and then have you be able to specialize rather than just be like, these are the things and you're going to take this as high up as we want you to and you have no choice.
I feel like for me that was another thing I always wondered a lot is you'd go into a class, okay, especially you get up into high school and you're like, when am I going to use this?
Yeah.
And a teacher doesn't have
Yeah,
an
it's like
answer for
you
you.
won't. Yeah.
And it's like you're not telling, like, why do I need to be here?
Mm.
When I could be doing something else that's more useful. So then again to that, it would promote a student or encourage a student to not want to continue being a student.
Hmm.
Therefore, they're not going to put effort in. Now, that's not to say that we need to adapt so that every student's happy so they want to be there, right? But some of these basic things I think are useful for everybody that would improve kind of the emotional view students have of the school they're going to.
Yeah.
At least for me, that was something I thought about a lot.
I mean, that could play into just it being black and white too. I mean, if you address a lot of things, I mean, it'll probably be more interesting. And you could look at black and white just in if it's necessary or not. I mean, it might fall
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in between, but it's either like you're forced to take this or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's just vast issues. I mean, we could look at, let's see, what else we got to look at. We could talk about just pure cultural issues now.
In
That's
what regard? Give me a
you could say cultural
started
issues
up.
fostered in school, and then you could say that after school because of what was fostered. But
Mm-hmm.
one example I have is an analogy. It may not be the greatest analogy, but it made sense to me, and that is that it seems school fosters either a radical compliance or rebellion. And the
Mm.
analogy with that is of a double-edged sword with like a flat supporting structure in the middle, right? And they skip that necessary center structure, and then they always find themselves on one of the blades
From the
of the extreme.
outside, what I think I'm hearing you saying is you have two sides. You either have somebody who all they do is listen and
Mm,
they don't think,
yeah,
or all they do is rebel no matter what's said.
yeah,
So you either have no thought in accepting
mm,
or no thought rebelling,
yeah.
which neither is that useful
No, neither of them are useful. They're both
to
very,
grow or better society.
yeah, yeah.
Which I feel like I've heard a lot of people talk about the system of school to just produce workers.
And that's what it was founded to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like that's the cookie cutter
yeah,
outline of school that we have today. Which is interesting. I mean to look at like thinking about that like an issue in society is right now is we have people that can't talk to each other.
mm,
Well, if schools that's what it's producing, I mean that's kind of almost looks like it might be the source of that or could be a part of that. Does that make sense?
yeah,
You know, if you have either people who don't think and they just listen to what one person tells them,
mm,
they're going to get mad when somebody disagrees with that. Or the person that doesn't do what people say only gets mad when they're told to do something,
yeah,
which could be good. You know, they could be something good to do, but they're not going to want to do it.
yeah.
Vice versa.
And a point I was hitting with that radical compliance too is that a lot of the things they seem to be complying to are these bad things, like
Mm-hmm.
these trendy things that are just bad actors trying to grab as much attention as they can, and they have grabbed a lot of attention.
Sure.
Um, I have this part in this paragraph that I read to you earlier, and I think might be beneficial to a straight up read.
All right.
I'm not going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to start kind of in it, the most important part. And it starts saying, as when the majority struggle to meet a low bar historical standard, and then when the majority are largely incapable of civil discussion, not only because they often sustain a fragile and self-centered state of intellect, but more so because they blatantly lack the knowledge to discuss anything of importance or meaning or complexity. And I continue saying, when the whole universe of the use revolves around popular bad actors and the newest saying or TikTok dance, and when this rotation inevitably strengthens and forms orbit through repetition throughout the most vulnerable state of human intellectual development, and where during this state no rock or foundation intended to support and guide is in any scalable manner effective, no wonder there's no question and there's no wonder why there are these problems in our society.
Hmm.
It's because these people, everybody, I mean, I'm not trying to point at any single group of people because it is every single person who's gone through this education system is faced with this black and white reality, and either they don't really learn about something, so then they don't know and they can't talk, or they're taught something that's not really entirely true. They don't know the full picture, and again, they can't talk. They just don't care because they care more about this trendy stuff and these bad actors and what's cool, and then again, they can't talk. Or like it's all about a big thing is really they just don't care,
Hmm.
and that is, I believe, fostered by the school system.
I think a lot of that. I mean, we were talking before about like a lack of independent thought. We've talked about it a couple of times, but you know, maybe if the system of school promoted your thought,
Mm,
that would be different.
yeah.
You know, instead of just listen to what we have to say,
Mm,
instead of helping you think about it yourself,
yeah.
you know, which again, you know, isn't always the case. And to have a teacher, and I've seen this, and to see this like done well, these are the teachers that everybody loves, and
Hmm.
everybody's like, this is an amazing teacher. They win
Yeah.
teacher of the year every year. No competition because it's not common.
Yeah.
And it's a teacher that helps you think about it yourself. They are engaging to the students.
But they make the same as the teachers everybody hates and that are
So
blatantly
then there's
terrible at
no,
their jobs.
so then in the school system, there's almost like no reward for doing it well,
Hmm.
not a good enough one. So
Yeah.
then in a job that's difficult and hard, if they're left to just them wanting to do it and out of their own good of their heart,
And you realize how
you're not going to have a
difficult
lot
it
of good
is to
teachers.
fire a teacher? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, the
Yeah.
teachers union in most states is pretty decent. I mean, you can't just fire a teacher. I mean, it's not easy to do.
I want to get
Majority of
specific,
the
but
time.
there was a situation where I tried to get a teacher at least in trouble for a not good thing that happened,
Repeatedly
and
too. It's not like one.
yeah, and nothing happened.
Yeah. Coming
Oh,
up with multiple eyewitness
with an
testimonies of it.
issue not good.
Yeah. That
Nothing
happened
happened.
multiple times.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of have personal experience of a difficulty getting a teacher out, and
It just
I,
doesn't seem to be any accountability. And at the same time, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's accountability for the teachers and the administration. It seems that our standards can continue to decrease each year,
yeah,
and we continue to just
and
force these.
increase in the wrong ways.
Yeah.
Because
And
then it's like the standard required of the students increases in areas that it doesn't need to, but then the requirements for the people teaching it decrease,
I
which
don't
I
think,
think is the beginnings of a very bad system and a very bad situation for the development of the country.
if
At
I'm
least the
being real,
development of
I
the
think the
brain of people.
standards for the students haven't gone up. I'd say they've gone down significantly. I mean, they
Well, I mean,
force people to
in the sense
graduate that
that,
shouldn't.
well, in this true, but in the sense that our grandparents never had to learn trigonometry,
Okay, sure.
and now we have to learn trigonometry.
Yeah.
Like, there's been certain things that have increased, whereas there's like not that many instances where you're actually going to use that.
Yeah.
And I've even been told, like, even going back to algebra, I could understand a basic understanding, like could see where that could be useful, basic understanding. But I know people that work in a field that uses algebra, and they said they had to learn a different type of algebra in their field. It's not the same as what you do in school, so you're gonna have to relearn it anyways.
Mm,
So then it's almost like, what's the point?
yeah.
You know?
And these new things from our society, like we're talking about doing things with computers or whatnot, rare, like, I haven't seen any of that ever be
I've
required.
seen some interesting studies showing the decline of the brain being able to perform
Mhm.
since computers were overly normalized in school, which is
I
kind of
wouldn't doubt
interesting.
that.
I That's not something I've done.
And that's not to
I
say
could
I
talk
hate
about in
computers, but
proficiency, but
yeah.
um,
Mm.
I think the study was talking about Gen Z being the only generation to not outperform their past generation,
I've 100%
and
seen
the
that. Yeah.
difference was computers being brought into the school, which is interesting. That's kind of
And maybe it,
maybe some more thought on how the brain works, how people learn.
I mean, you don't have to think anymore. You want to be entertained, you hop on
It might
TikTok and you
just be
just,
efficiency. And talking about the standard, what would be the purpose to try to get all these computers in schools? Well, now you can just copy and paste,
mm,
super easy. You don't even have to print it out. So like a
yeah.
teacher doesn't have to do that little thing, doesn't have to do it, and it's like less work. But then we're seeing it kind of negatively affect.
Mm.
But I don't think they're going to take the computer out
It's one of
because
those things where you take
it
one step forward
simplifies
and you
things.
stumble two back.
Sure.
And like computers are great, but it's just they do have negative effects. I'm not saying like computers vastly important and vastly useful. I think it's I think short form content's more dangerous than anything for that if we're talking about technology. Um, I mean, technology is abused so much at school. I'm not dismissing that in any way, but
Mm.
um, and that's not to say that I think phones should be banned either, which is interesting. I mean, it's a very hard topic to really get perfect, and I'm not saying it's really we could get it like perfect, really, but
Mm.
I think it's just we really you got to address the problem, right? We got to cut the head off the snake of or the vast problems that we have in our society, and I would say that the head of the snake is the education system because I mean each generation is getting worse and worse and worse, and it has since the Cold War, right? Since we reached our peak, it's only been decline since then, in intelligence and just many things. And I think a big part of that is just a moral anarchy, really, and schools and almost a sense of like tribalism, I guess, over just what is entirely irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, there was a big time, and I guess this is still kind of going on in some regards, but like teachers who would promote, um, like a communist view type of a thing,
Yeah.
or promote ideas that were used, like, let's say, in Germany, in like Berlin.
Mm.
And like, I have family who lived over there and saw the negative effects of this. They come back, and then the kids in the U.S. schools are like saying this is a good thing. It's like, well, for them to think that's a good thing, they have to not be seeing and taught everything about it.
Yeah. I
You
think
know,
with that, we got to take a minute to talk about how easy people in America have it and just how little problems we have a nation have gone through. It's like we have no experience with these bad things, and we want to sit here and act like we're experts on socialism or communism. It's like these things, like students will be sitting there in colleges being like, yeah, let's be communist.
I feel like
Like, let's
I feel
collectivize.
like
Like, dude, you've never been in a collectivized society. You don't
mm,
know what you're talking
I
about.
think a part of it is there's kind of this move for everybody to be overly political
Mm-hmm.
without the requirement of
An
understanding
ever changing
politics.
news cycle.
In some regards, but even not even in the news cycle, not even media, but just even in schools or in just talk with people.
Yeah, but they get their
There's
information from
like,
that ever changing news
sure.
cycle. They don't look at it. It's again a lack of independent thought. They just hear things
I
like
mean,
it's
sometimes,
truth.
but to see the amount of teachers that I had comment on which person in office they liked
Yeah.
when I'm in
Is that
your
even
class for
legal
science,
to like
you
really have
know,
a hardcore like open position? I'm not sure if teachers are really
or
supposed
to
to do
I've
that.
seen a teacher get mad at a student for supporting a certain
Mm,
person in office
yeah.
or a person in politics. You're teaching math.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what are we doing here?
Trump's gonna change math, guys. This is real important.
But, you know, I personally on my side, I feel like issues I have with the school system is the shift away from Christianity.
Mm.
To see that shift, I feel like
I think that shift back is a solution to a lot of these things I've been
I
saying.
agree, and I feel like it's a visible the decrease in effectiveness and like ability for the school to perform well can be tracked right back to the separation from it, you
Oh yeah.
know. And it's like,
It
for me
didn't.
personally, like, in this regard, I would almost rather not use public school for my kids unless it changes.
Yeah.
You know, in some regards, like, because if I'm looking for wisdom in the Bible, and it's like you have to have that relationship to have this kind of wisdom,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, if you're looking at so many things in Scripture that talk about the importance of training your child up. So like, people in charge of this training up, like we were saying before, should be at this higher standard. And I feel like that standard should be, for at least me and somebody of faith, that the people training your children should have this faith, should have this relationship. And so then to send your kids 8 hours a day, almost every day of the week, to people completely against this
Mm.
is not going to be beneficial to them,
No, it's not.
you know?
It's gonna be very harmful.
And like, even before, I think, even before I saw God do works in my life, changing my heart, softening it to see evil around me, like, to be a part of that evil, I feel like I saw that evil in the school system.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you go to almost any high school in the U.S., the bathrooms are referred to as Cloud City. Like, this is common. I mean, school is not
Bro
a
ripping the
good
pingy
place
in the
anymore.
bathroom.
Sure, and it's like, these are the new norms
That's
for
the
it.
least of the
And
problems too, which is the crazy thing.
personally, I think the church should address this more, or fight this a little bit more
Yeah.
than what has been. If our children are to replace, the people training them should be doing better,
Yeah.
you know. And and what's interesting with schools, and you see this a lot in um, a lot of colleges, a lot of public colleges, a lot of the times professors aren't even, they're more focused on promoting an anti-theistic thing.
100%.
Like, you'll have a class on philosophy.
100%.
You're not learning philosophy. All they're telling you is that God's not real. So whereas I could be learning something possibly through philosophy and going to a class that could be interesting for understanding ideas, the teacher's having me sign a paper that says God's not real. How is that useful? So then it's almost like the system is more inclined to demote God than to educate.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a big thing behind a lot of teachers. And a lot of this kind of woke movement too, like to have a teacher. If my kid goes to school and there's a dude dressed as a chick shaking his butt in my child's face, that's not good.
No, that would be like basis for revolution, like about 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like and that's not to say hate on any of these people. And it's like
Obviously,
I
hate
love
the
you and
sin, not the
I
person.
want better for you.
Yeah.
But I should be able to say that my child should not have to witness that.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
and I feel like there's a shift too that takes the power of the parent out from the school system.
Yeah.
And if the parent tries to get that power back, they're labeled as this like extremist.
Mhm.
When has it ever been extreme to care about your child? You know,
When the
and
state wanted to take control of them and indoctrinate them, that's when.
I don't know. And I see so much in scripture, like I said, that talks about the importance of raising your child right and to be a part of it. And I feel like I've seen a shift away from that. And almost like we'll let them teach them and we'll just have them at home.
Yeah.
And to even not be doing the teaching at home, which I think goes back to kind of not going over hard things, like to teach a kid and be in that process isn't easy,
You got to push till failure if you want a growth.
but it's worth it,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
And
like,
yeah,
think about working out. Are you going to like get strong if
you're
you're
gonna talk
lifting
about
two
you're gonna
pound
talk about working out,
dumbbells, bro?
Tyler. You're gonna
Okay.
talk about working out.
So
Okay,
you're going to
I
lift a
love
little 2-pounder and you're going to be like, I'm going to get jacked, bro. It's like, no, dude, pick up the 50-pounder. I know you can't, but.
No, it's true though. Light work will not have big results.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I thinking about it in that sense. In working out, to get a bigger muscle, you're tearing your muscle,
Yeah.
and then it regrows bigger. So you have to break it to grow it. Something's hurting, and it's not easy. So, in that same regard, you know, there's a difficulty to it, but it's worth it, and I think it should be looked at. And you know, it's sad because you know, it's not like all the employees in the school system are evil or complying with the shift, but they're becoming a minority.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
any attempt they might make to hold back this shift,
Suppressed.
this move, it's ineffective. You know, and I mean,
I had a teacher at my old school, right?
mm,
And he would be in conflict with the administration all the time because of just things like this.
mhm,
And they got to the point where they wouldn't respond to his emails just because he like would bring up a problem. They just completely ignore him.
mm,
Or like they wouldn't come to his class if he had an issue because they just didn't like the guy.
mm.
So it's like they literally just suppress views and opinions that they don't like.
This is a tricky subject, but I feel like there's been a shift in the public school system towards a far left view, and if you don't comply with that, you're evil and wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that a far right is correct.
You're
Both
not
are
going to get
wrong,
correct on any extreme.
but to see, I feel like I've seen a shift of politics. So it's almost like the school system's like, you got to take God out of it, but we're gonna put politics in,
Yeah.
which is not good, you know. And they're almost like acting as if that's not a similar thing, or they're not doing what they thought the evil was coming from the latter.
They've taken their ideology and they've made that their god.
Yeah, they're
And
saying you
that's
can't have ideology in school, but we're gonna put our ideology
yeah,
in.
it's like this woke ideology is their god. It's like you're being offensive. It's like you're a bad person because you just said something mean. It's
Yeah.
like that is like that's what all their morals is based around.
Yeah, and I think it does go back to the lack of thought because it's like a lot of these thoughts and ideas that get promoted in school, you take them to the fullest, and it doesn't end anywhere good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for you're having shifts now to where people can identify as younger because they're attracted to younger. So now it's okay to be a pedophile, or it's okay to do atrocities. It's okay. This is fine because it's who I am. And you go to any school and you got a poster that says trust, like, believe in yourself. Follow your heart. Well, the Bible says the heart is wicked. Who can know it?
Pride
It
Club.
says to distrust your thoughts. So the school is promoting to trust and follow something that leads to wickedness without the transformation of the gospel in your life and without the transformation that Jesus provides.
Mm. It's almost the
So,
seeking of knowledge without wisdom. Like you're taught all these things that may be a fact, but you don't understand anything about anything.
sure, sure.
Which could be again just being so simplistic about how you learn everything, and it could be also black and white. It all plays into each other. But
And to have grown up in this public school system, to get the view that we just got is so refreshing. It's not even funny, dude. It's not even funny. I mean, to desire to learn is a new thing for me,
oh yeah, yeah.
which was present where we just were.
It was really amazing being in a completely different atmosphere.
And you know what the difference
It
was?
was enlightening.
Christ in the school.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
exactly what it
amazing.
was.
It's
It is
amazing how much
precisely what it was.
that changed it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, to go to a public school where everybody's vaping in the bathroom, nobody wants to be there.
Nope.
Everybody's mocking teachers, talking out, no punishment, but deserving
Vodka
of
in the
punishment.
water bottle.
Vodka in the water bottle, drinking twisted tea on the bus. That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't know. That was pretty
That
funny.
was fart. But
Um,
these are accepted and just common. This is there. I mean, to send your kid to public school is to almost send them to education on hell.
yeah, yeah.
And that's not even an exaggeration.
It's not.
I mean, like I said, before I even came to Christ, I was like, this is wild. I didn't have an issue with it because I was a part of it.
I had an issue with it personally. I mean, before I came to Christ, I still hated the school system, and many of it was for these reasons.
I understood.
Yeah.
I could see the evil in
The
it.
flaw is very clear. The flaws are so clear. I don't think there are many people that would say there aren't these major flaws with the school system, regardless of their ideology or position on the political compass or whatnot. But
yeah, and it's just it's sad, and it's like I almost feel like nowadays it's something that not talking about the hard topics. It's almost something that's like illegal to talk about. But like I said before, it's like the things that are important should be talked about the most.
Yeah.
Because they're important. And it matters if they're bad or good. And to see, and I feel like it's obvious to see the importance of a good working school system.
Yeah.
Like that is important. If you don't think that's important, or that good education for youth is important, think about it more. I would say you haven't thought about it enough.
Just imagine the people who are in high school right now, middle school, elementary school, and imagine in a few years when they're going to be the people running the country. And you're like, do you want someone who is exactly how they are now to be in charge of the most powerful country to have ever existed?
I don't know a person our age and just above our age that can stand the common things done by the new generation, by the younger kids coming up.
Yeah.
What's been the change? I feel like in our lifetime, I have seen dramatic changes. Dramatic. I don't know what that word. Dramatic changes in the school system.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool word if it was one.
Dramatic changes.
Dramatic changes in the school system in our lifetime. That's not to even speak before our lifetime, because there's been a lot of switches over the past 50 years.
I mean, when you're talking about, like, have you heard about early days in America when Congress, like, promoted a Bible, right? Like, they had it printed, like, they endorsed it. It was by their instruction for this Bible to be printed with the sole purpose of it being used in schools.
Yep.
mean, this idea of like separate institutions has never been secular institution. It's always been separate,
Hmm.
but still able to stand together.
Hmm. At bare minimum, somebody not of faith can respect the values promoted by the Christian faith.
Yeah, and it's the values the country were founded upon.
At bare minimum, it's not bad things for your child to be learning and promoted.
Yeah, it is the best things that they could be learning in.
Yeah. At bare minimum, it's good. At most it's life,
Yeah.
And so to see the shift away from it, I feel like a lot of it has to do, and this isn't to say that everything was perfect before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing is people had bad
It's
examples
nostalgia.
and then they used that to promote their whole ideology and the whole new way of thinking, which is this whole thing is bad.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes back to not thinking yourself. It's I'm going to use one example to produce my whole new way I'm thinking about something.
It's like the fascist hitting the
You know.
communist
Yeah,
when fascism was founded by a communist.
sure. And it's like, you know, like we said,
Let's hate
important
them
things
both.
need to be thought about more, and the people thinking about them. To me, I feel like it almost seems like they're not thinking enough about it.
Yeah.
Or if they are, their intentions aren't what's best
Mm.
for the people in the school.
Yeah.
Whether that is teachers and students, but some of it is teachers doing the thinking. So it's not to exclude all teachers because there are teachers in the wrong at the moment.
Mm.
You know.
I don't think either that many people are like care much about the country. And I'm not saying being aligned to the nation is the most important thing, because obviously being aligned to God is always going to be the most important thing. But it seems people have embraced, like I was saying earlier, like a sense of tribalism, because they don't care about their nation. They don't care about their fellow Americans or the people in their state or the community. They might find a small little community that believes whatever nonsense or maybe something good. I don't know. It could be any range, but it is don't seem to care much about the country and the people in it. It's like they don't like they act almost like they want to better it, but they don't do anything to better it. And they're always like, I hear so much just talking down on the country and like no one's really hopeful about our future. I don't think.
I think it really does have to do with you have one bad situation and now you hate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which the whole thing isn't bad, but one part of it's bad. We can
Black
address
and
the
white
one
view of it.
bad thing and fix it. And now it's perfect. Instead, you're breaking the whole thing which is majority good and starting this other thing completely different which if it's completely different than the mostly good thing, it's not going to be good,
Yeah.
you know? So I man, it really is hard and
Yeah.
it seems like we need to get back into a place where we can do more thinking and that's promoted, that things are thought through and that it's not taboo to talk about hard topics.
Yeah.
I think it really is a big thing.
We gotta wrap up by talking about a hard topic.
We're wrapping up by
I
talking
don't
about
know.
hard topic?
No, I was just saying something random. We don't have
Oh,
to, but
I thought you had some. Okay.
oh no, the only thing I had was imperialism. Like I've been kind of trying to say, it's like when I was talking about imperialism, all these bad things, right? But the big good thing that I didn't quite get to is that it did lead to the vast abolishing of slavery through the British Empire. I mean, slavery was everywhere in the world, with even like tribes and groups that haven't been contacted, and the British colonized half the world, and then they ended slavery in that half of the world. And then most of the other European powers followed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Americans, I mean, we obviously fought a civil war over
Mm-hmm.
it to end it here, but like the vast ending of slavery was directly through imperialism. I mean, rather, I'm not saying imperialism's a good
A
thing,
lot of
but
that had to
it
do with the
did.
Christian faith.
Yeah. I mean,
Specifically,
that was the justification
you know,
for ending it. Yeah.
is the fact that people have innate value.
Though some
That
people
idea,
did use it to justify slavery as well. I mean, not everything is black and white.
which is wild because you really
Yeah.
can't.
I mean, it's, yeah, I'm
You
not
really
saying you can't, but
I
they
don't
did.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wild to me.
But the point
Nobody could
here,
look at it and read something and be like, "What are you doing?" I
yeah,
don't know. But
the big point is that things are not black and white, and that you need to be able to talk about things
sure,
in a non-black and white
to
manner.
be able to look at something that maybe was overall bad and find some good in it,
Yeah.
is a big thing.
Hmm.
It's a mature thing,
Yeah.
and
It's a realistic thing. I mean, not
yeah,
everything's gonna be straight good, straight bad.
yeah.
I mean, you're almost sustaining just a false state of reality
Hmm.
if you're looking purely white or purely black.
Yeah. I mean, even back it up and look at something less like drastic. I mean, let me think of something like Toys R Us went out of business.
Into the world.
Okay. Yeah, that was I was so mad when that happened. But anyways, it's like it's not to say that they didn't do things that were good.
No.
So something didn't work out, there can still be parts of it that were good.
Yeah. I
You
mean, their
know,
business model wasn't the greatest. They're killed by Amazon, but it was a great thing. People love Toys R Us.
exactly. There was something about it that people now miss.
Yeah.
So what is that? And we can look at that, right? And that can be something we incorporate into something
And then
new.
we can look deeper into that. It's like part of that may be nostalgia, and part of that may be that it was a great thing that people loved. It's like there's a layers upon layers upon layers of complexity with everything that
Hmm.
seems just to be ignored in school these days.
I feel like there's been a shift to people not being able to argue well.
Mm,
And I think a part of that is a people hit like a sensitive topic and they get emotional in it instead of
yeah.
just pure conversation. And a lot of people think that if you disagree with something they believe in or think about as true, that you're disagreeing with their life existence.
Hmm.
You're by saying I don't agree with you, you're saying I hope you die,
Yeah.
which is not the case. But I feel like that's how it's looked at or emotionally looked at in terms of an
It's
argument.
crazy how all
And
these
that might be
topics
the shift
connect.
away from it. That might be the shift away from the bigger thought is people don't know how to take a disagreement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Not everything's that
which
personal.
in my
It's
mind
black
goes
or white
back
again. It's
to
either we're best friends or you're dead to me.
yeah, and in my mind, like to be able to not be controlled by your emotions is a Christian thought.
Mm.
So then again, just that
Yeah.
taken out of school
There's a
has
major
led to this.
principle. Major principle.
So I don't know. My encouragement for parents is to look more at the school system before you send your kids,
Mm.
especially if you have been graced with the realization of faith. There's so many things happen. Like speaking as a person who has been through public school and now has faith and looks and compares the two, it's almost it would almost be safe to say it's detrimental
Mm.
to send your kid to a public school.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration.
At least in early days. I mean, minimum, like talking elementary school, you could probably figure that out at home. I'm
Yeah,
not saying high school is good at all, but
and maybe that's an encouragement to start to create more school types of schools
that's kind of,
with the
you want to
Christian
talk about kind of
ideology.
solutions? I have like something I was talking about is that there's probably not going to be a one size fit all solution. I was talking about having almost multiple systems, maybe not even directly like government owned, right?
Hmm.
Maybe like semi, something like that, like
Sure,
private with a lot of
sure, sure, sure,
restrictions, requirements,
sure,
but
sure, sure.
many systems. One may, for example, be more militaristic or something if people want to get into more tradey jobs, something along that line. And you might have one that might be a little more like white collar jobs and like specialties for that. For high school, obviously, is this whole thing.
Hmm.
But again, and the big principle of that is school choice, is that people
Hmm.
can choose which system they want to go into.
I think this is something the church as a whole could be effective in
Yeah.
making better.
Seems like a lot of
Is
churches
making
don't want to
more
be like activists anymore, like kind of
maybe,
put their hat in the
but
ring.
to open up more options for faith-based schools, I think should be a focus
Mm,
of the church and should
no.
be important.
I don't
Um,
think the government's going to touch that with like a 400-foot stick. So maybe really the churches really probably should stick their foot in the door with that.
yeah, and that's something I think about a lot is like it really is a disservice sending your kid to the public school. It just really is, and it's hard to say it a different way, just because
There's just so much bad and so few good. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't even out.
yeah.
It really doesn't, and it's just
It's like
it's
really the only advantage I could look at is just being around. Have the, okay, not always, because a lot of it's not, but having the possibility to be around people you may be friends with or something like that. Just a social aspect. And a lot of that's negative
dude.
too.
All of the
The
people I
majority, really.
know, all of the friends I have that were homeschooled are not socially awkward,
Really.
completely
Hmm.
useful people in society.
Hey.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Graduated college when he was 18.
Mm.
Graduated college when he was 18. I got another going into kinesiology. People love him. Another one making great money working for hospitals, doing safety checks. Homeschooled. Another one getting ready to go into a trade. Gets along with everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
loves him. Great worker. Homeschooled again. And it's
You
I
can
feel like
homeschool without making them hermits.
yeah, and I feel like that's might have been some of the thought is maybe some people did homeschool and turned out maybe not socially aware.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. I mean, you go and you have friends, they hang out with their kids, you hang out with those people. I mean, if if the wisest man on earth stated, the man who walks with wise men will be wise, the companion of fools will be destroyed, then I feel like as a parent, wanting the best for your kid, wanting to raise them up the right way, you would want to put them around wise people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't feel safe in saying that the majority of people operating in public schools are wise.
I think there's a lot
Operating
more
and
than a majority
attending
that aren't.
and attending as well. And that might be a big switch. I look at friends that went to public school and I would see a big difference on majority average compared to people I know who went to homeschool
Yeah. Yeah.
in terms of their productiveness, their ability to work in society, their general like overall relationship with the Lord and or just like
Perhaps it's just the culture of the schools. Maybe it really is just
yeah.
the culture. I mean, public school does foster a certain culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a overwhelmingly negative culture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. I mean, it's supported by the students there, and they embrace it with open arms, and
Mm-hmm.
same with the teachers and the
Yeah.
administrators.
And there's no guidelines on the students.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing I think about. Like there's so many rules in public school in things that are strict per se.
That are entirely useless. It makes no sense.
Yeah, but then it doesn't
You can
stop
only go to
any
the
of the things that
bathroom
are
once a
bad.
week.
Yeah, sure. It's something like that. But then
You can put a gun in your backpack though if no one knows.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that hasn't stopped any of these harmful bad
yeah.
things. And I mean, even just talking about exposure, I mean, you have a kid like the amount of parents I know that think their kids are so innocent going to public
Mm,
schools baffles me.
yeah.
And you can tell them all day long, like your kid's already been exposed to this in public school. I mean, they're pulling vapes from people in kindergarten.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, for you to be a
Trench coat kid
parent
on the
and think, well,
playground,
that's
bro.
not my kid. He's not around that. She's not around that. They're around that. All the things you think they're not around, they're around.
They're around a lot more than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and it has become almost unsafe. Even you could say unsafe for kids to be in public schools
So imagine all
on
the good
average.
things you think they're around, and take that and take about a
Just
single percent of what you think, and that's maybe like 5 times more than what they actually get.
sure. And that's the thing too, is just the fact that all of that the whole system on in so many regards is failing. You have these good teachers who are doing good or good admins who are doing good, people who care about the kids.
Yeah,
They're so few and far between that it just doesn't make a difference.
yeah,
You can have one good archer, but if an army of 1,000 soldiers is approaching, he's dead.
hmm
Your village is wiped.
yeah.
He could be the best archer in the world. You're dead.
He's not David.
It's like there's too few to battle against the wars of evil, it would seem, that are attacking the kids through the public school. And you want to look at what's interesting in scripture is anytime there was important people coming out. When Moses was born, Pharaoh tried to wipe out the firstborn of like Hebrews,
Hmm.
kids under 2 or 3 years old. When Jesus was born, there
Hmm.
was a census and he tried to wipe out.
Just reread Matthew.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many instances where it's like the devil will attack the young undefenseless.
Mm.
And it would seem that the undefenseless youth of America is being attacked, and I feel like I'd like to see more done about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I'd say personally, at least, I can't speak for anyone else, but America has the most potential to do good. I mean, we're in the
Sure.
best position to do good, and they're
Sure. There's so many
beating the
advantages
crap
to
out of our
living
youth.
in America and to have the opportunities you have in America that you don't have other places.
Yeah. It's a
And
country like no other, but we're
yeah,
getting the crap beat out of us
but it's producing youth
by
that don't
ourselves.
care about those opportunities and are not interested in it. Like
That's exactly
you're
what it is.
creating a youth
Couldn't say
that
it better myself.
would rather jump up a level on Rocket League than find the cure to cancer.
Yeah.
It's not productive,
No, it's really
you
not.
know, and
It's so bad.
and
Or they're counting their bodies instead of like their GPA or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's
no,
just
that's fair. That's a fair thing to say. And it really is. And
they have
it's
a
crazy to have been in public school to see somewhere that's not public like that, that's the opposite of it. It's
it
so
was amazing.
drastically different.
Yeah, it really was amazing.
Like it's almost incomprehensible. You almost look at it like there's no way this is possible. This is a utopia.
You're standing in a
You
crowd,
know,
right? That's really busy, and like literally exactly what happened to me. A very busy crowd. It's like I was uncomfortable. It was a big crowd, but no one was trying to push through you. No one was being mean. Like they like it was just a considerate atmosphere. Like you can
mm,
tell it's a different culture
mm,
there than it is in public high schools.
yeah, yeah. And to be, we don't have to be too specific, but we visited a private Christian college. So this is the back to what we
Yeah,
keep referencing,
yeah.
and just to see the difference, it really is crazy. And even without having gone and seeing that, my understanding of the atrocities taking place in the public school system were still present.
Oh yeah, dude. Just open your eyes.
But
Open them
now
up.
it just I feel like gives me more evidence and more, even though I already believe
It gives
this
you
to the
evidence of the
fullest,
alternative.
it gives me an example to show people
What
the
it could be.
difference of a school with Christ and without Christ.
Yeah, yeah. And it is so radically
It
different.
really is. And I mean, we can talk about these issues and what politicians think about it and what you can research and, what we think about it on a different level. But what you really come back to, and you said this, I've said this, what it comes back to is a taking out of Christ in the schools.
Yeah. Yep.
And it has led to this
Simple as
just
that. Simple
disgusting
as that.
disgusting excuse of a organization, of a department.
Whatever they want to call it these days, dude. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, like, what they're saying they're going to restructure it or take it down, and then nothing's happened yet.
I don't know.
Like,
And
I'll
it
give Trump prompts for at least saying he's going to do something and trying, but like, it doesn't seem like anything's happening.
And I feel bad too because I've had teachers that I really love that were amazing teachers, and I feel bad that they have to be a part of public school
Yeah.
and they have to deal with the students it's producing.
Yeah, I'm related to people who
And
teach, dude. And it's so sad seeing them come home some days and just being so just defeated
that's
by
a
the system
big
they're in.
that's talk about another like just big shift since the taking out of certain standards in the Bible out of school. It's like younger, like the kids we have in school today. It's terrible.
Mm.
Like, not that they are terrible, but what they're doing is terrible. I mean, you have the loudest classroom. Nobody
Yep.
cares.
Yep.
Nobody listens. Nobody's respectful. And and a part of that's taken out of punishment. And we look at scripture,
Half
it
of
says,
them are
don't spare
stoned.
the rod. And it's like we've taken out punishment as to
Yep.
not harm children in some
Get the
emotional
wooden
way.
paddle out, bro.
But now there's no punishment to things, so there's no restriction on it, so then they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And now you have good teachers that have to deal with hideous kids, and it's not even their fault. It's the system they're in that's producing them. It's not preventing it. And so, teachers blame students all day long. People today are like, this generation sucks. If we read out of Luke that the student becomes like the teacher, then the people in charge of
What's
the youth
happened?
is the issue, not the youth. It's not like they have some new gene
Mm.
that makes them evil. It's what they're seeing, what they're being taught.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
You know, that teacher might
You
not
know,
necessarily only be teachers in an educational setting. You have celebrities, like
yeah,
any influencer, like that. They are
yeah.
incredibly poor teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, all of them collectively have led the youth down such a terrible path for this country and for this world.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not even worried that we're saying things that are too drastic because I mean, you just
I
have to
don't think
walk
we
into a
have.
public
Yeah.
school to see it.
Nothing we
It's
said is
not
wrong.
it's not that hard to see, I feel like. Um, but
And of course, like as we've been saying this whole time, think for yourselves, right?
yeah,
Like,
I feel like it's
go see
easy
it.
to hear something like this and then do nothing about it because it requires change,
Yeah.
and that's difficult. It's a similar
Oh,
reason.
I had a conclusion sentence.
You're gonna have to wait on this. It's a
Oh, I'm gonna wait
similar.
on it.
You're good. It's a similar reason of why some people have a hard time coming to faith because it requires a change. And change is difficult and requires effort.
Hmm.
This requires change and effort, and I think that's the reason it has not been addressed and worked through.
So most things that need to be addressed and changed haven't been. It's
True.
gonna require you to get off your couch, stop eating Lay's, dude. Turn off the TV. Like, dang, can't get your hand off the Pringle can fast enough to go make a change. Ugh.
Man, leave the Pringle can on and use it. I don't know.
Yeah, you could
Something.
do
Do
something with
something.
it.
I don't
Use
know.
it as like a pointer hand or something.
Something, man.
Imagine that.
Something.
Fist with the Pringle can on it.
What's your closer, brother?
All right. So, to conclude, I believe the majority of us know our American education system is vastly flawed and a major contributing factor to our national hardships, especially that of independent thought and intellectual diversity. It is certainly a difficult bureaucracy to challenge, though it is far from unfixable. Through real effort from real people, rather than false pretenses of self serving politician, the American education system and every other system will be fixed. And through the acts of God, will the evil of this fallen world be overcome.
Sure.
Hmm.
Agreed. I concur. I concur.
It'd make a little more sense with the whole thing, but regardless, truthful statements.
Yeah. And yeah, this is important. It's a good one though.
Yeah.
Good one. This is again another topic that I feel like will be covered again in some regards.
Seems they've all kind of wrapped back into each
Um,
other at some point.
A lot of them do, and I think a lot of them will.
I mean, there is
If
a
knowledge and
solution
truth
to
is
everything.
in, yeah, if knowledge and truth comes from Christ,
And then who's going to be the solution?
it's a source to a lot of things. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
We'll have another one out next week.
Next week.
Tune in for it. But
We already got the topic, right?
yeah,
What are you saying?
we're
Or are
gonna
we
go
not
over
announcing?
community.
Oh, no, he's announcing.
Yeah, I'll announce it. I
Community.
can announce it on this
I
one.
think
Yeah,
that's
we'll
going to
go
be a
over
good one.
community, the importance specifically of godly community. We'll have a lot of scripture with it as well as personal topics and kind of stories about that. Should be
I think
good
it's
though.
going to be a great one.
Oh, facts.
But regardless, that's going to wrap up episode 5, right?
Yeah.
Number 5. Lucky number 5.
God bless. Stay in your word. Think for yourself.
Or at least salute.
Have a good one.
And